What's going on YouTube? So the American auto market is of course dominated by trucks, most of which are full-size trucks made by the big three. However, occasionally a brand comes along and thinks outside of the box. And that's exactly the case with the vehicle I'm standing next to right now, the all-new Hyundai Santa Cruz. This not only represents the brand's first ever pickup, but it also represents the return of a true compact truck to the US. So does this blend crossover and pickup truck in a way that meets the needs of both parties? Let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the exterior design of this Santa Cruz, because this of course is a very unique looking truck. So up here in the front, you're gonna notice there are some similarities to the Tucson model. However, once you actually see this in person, you'll notice there's actually more differences than what first meets the eye. So starting up here with your grille, this is similar to the Tucson. However, it does have a more squared off shape. And if you choose the limited trim level, it is going to be finished in this darkened chrome. However, your lower elements, these are the part that's more different from the Tucson, because you do have this really squared off bumper design here. This, of course, is just making the Santa Cruz look tougher and more rugged. But let's go ahead and talk about the lighting, because this is one of the very unique elements and something that's really stands out with Hyundai products. Just like with the Tucson, you actually have the daytime running lights hidden inside of the grille. So it's a little hard to see here in the bright daylight, but when you have these elements right here, they do light up and they especially look cool at nighttime. Now your main headlights though, these are gonna be down here in this lower area. In this cluster, you have bi-LED headlights for the SEL Premium and Limited trim levels, and they will be halogen on your lower trim levels. Now checking out the wheel options of this sport adventure vehicle, Hyundai does give you two bold wheel options. So you have an 18-inch alloy that's going to be standard on your SE through your SEL Premium. And then when you get up to this limited model, that's going to throw in these really large 20-inch contrast alloys, which have this very interesting and squared off design, which I think looks really nice and also kind of accentuates the ruggedness of this model. You also notice around the wheel you have these thick arches. These are going to be imprinted with kind of a tire tread, and then you even have a little Santa Cruz Easter egg right there on the top. And then coming up here to our mirrors. This is going to be pretty simple. You're going to have heating and blind spot monitoring on all but the base model.
Alrighty guys, so at the side, this is where you can start to see that this Santa Cruz is actually a pickup truck. So from the front you might be fooled into thinking this is a Tucson, but as you can see it does have a bed. Now let's talk about the length. We're looking at 195 inches in length, which puts it around 15 inches shorter than something like a Honda Ridgeline or a Toyota Tacoma. So it is quite a bit smaller than that, and this is going to be the only configuration you can get it in, crew cab with the 4-foot bed. Now, as far as the rear design is concerned for the Santa Cruz, as you can tell, this is a very unique design, and I'm actually quite a big fan of it. So it really doesn't look like any other pickup truck that you can buy, and that's because Hyundai has spent a lot of time designing these taillights to make this truck look wider than it actually is. So they're going to have this wide design, and these are going to be fully incandescent taillights, including the turn signal brake light and reverse light is going to be integrated into this lower bumper area. Speaking of that, the tow rating for this model with the turbo engine is going to be 5,000 pounds. But let's get to the part that you're really waiting on. That's going to be this tailgate and cargo area. So as you can see, we have Santa Cruz stamped into the tailgate, and then itself, it is going to be dampened on all of the models. And there is a lot of cool stuff going on back here. I will go ahead and tell you that. So I'm going to work my way through it. First of all, I want to point out that we do have a nice step to get into the tailgate itself, kind of like the Chevy Silverado. And then you're noticing this right here. This is the lockable tonneau cover. This is going to be standard equipment on every single Santa Cruz. And in order to open it, you just locate this little lever up top, and then it just goes ahead and self slides out of the way. Now, as far as the length here, it is 4 foot like I mentioned earlier. We have LED lighting on all of the sides, and then we're also going to have these really cool sliding hooks that you can move around depending on whatever your needs may be. Now, another thing you're going to have is you have these two little covers here on both sides. You can twist them, and on this side you are going to have a household style outlet on the higher end models, so that's a nice touch. But some of the coolest stuff is going to happen here in your trunk area inside. So kind of like the Honda Ridgeline, you can open up this area, and this doubles as a cooler since you do have a drain in the bottom, so you can fill this with ice, and it is also lockable. And then, in order to shut the tonneau cover, they have included this little strap here. You just kind of pull it like that, and that will go ahead and shut it. And Hyundai has pointed out that this tonneau cover is actually strong enough for you to stand on. So, look at there. I can stand on it and it doesn't break. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned with the Santa Cruz, of course, this is not just all about utility, it's also about comfort and safety. So you're going to have 3 out of 4 of them standard. So it's forward emergency braking, lane keeping assist, and auto high beams that are standard across the board. And if you get the limited trim, that will go ahead and throw in adaptive cruise control with their highway drive assistant. Well guys, that wraps up the exterior design of this all-new Hyundai Santa Cruz. As you can tell, this is a very unique looking truck. Let us go ahead and check out the inside, but before we do that, please hit that subscribe button down below. Also like and leave us a comment.
So on the Santa Cruz, you will find a smart entry system with remote start on all but the base model. And if you choose the SEL premium trim level or the limited, that's also going to come with Hyundai's digital key system, which will unlock your doors via an app on an Android smartphone or with an NFC key card. But of course, to get inside this vehicle, just reach behind the handle. It will unlock the doors. And there is your cabin of this Santa Cruz. As you can tell, of course, it is going to have some similarities to the Tucson model, but there's also plenty of differences as well, which we will point out throughout this review. Now, we don't have complete color information, but I can tell you the materials. So the SE through the SEL Premium will come with a cloth seat, and then when you choose this top-end limited model, this is going to come with a real leather seat. As you can see, we do have the black option. I anticipate they will also offer a beige or gray option as well. Now, turning over here to your door trim, you do have a very nice mixture of materials. So we have a leather trim through here with the color contrast stitching. We got some piano black accents. You have a cloth trim that goes through this area, more piano black, and then it is soft touch along the top. As far as the windows, there will be one touch auto up and down for your driver and your passenger. Heading down to the seats, these are 8-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support. That's included on all but the very base model. And then, like I already mentioned, we do have the leather seats here on the limited trim level. Nice design, lots of perforation. You got this accent up here, which I think looks nice, and some piping along the sides. Now, like I already mentioned, a lot of this cabin is shared with the Tucson, which is certainly a good thing because the new Tucson has a very nice cabin as well. So across your upper dash, you're going to find a soft touch plastic. As we move down, you have this cloth insert, which goes through the middle of the dash and connects to the accent on the door trim. More soft touch materials run through here. Down in this area, you have a piano black accent, and it is going to be hard touch along the side. Everything in here does fit together very well also. And then to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the button. And right off the bat, if you have the SEL Premium or the limited trim levels, you're going to be greeted with Hyundai's digital gauge cluster. This is a 10.25-inch display. And in typical Hyundai fashion, it's very vivid, very crisp looking. Just like with the Tucson, Hyundai actually says it's so vivid and bright they don't even need a hood. And as you can see, the sun is shining on it, and indeed that is true. There's almost no reflection on this at all. As far as the features on board with this, you do have different designs here when you switch to different modes. Additionally, when you choose the limited trim level, it's got Hyundai's excellent blind view monitoring system. So whatever way you signal, you do get that live camera feed, very helpful. And then also on the limited trim level, it's going to be throwing in rain sensing wipers. Now pulling back here to the steering wheel, we do have the newest 4-spoke Hyundai design. It's going to be nicely leather wrapped on the SEL Premium and the limited trim levels. And then the wheel itself is going to be manual tilt and telescoping. Heating is on the limited as well. Let's go ahead and check next into our interior storage. So I will start out underneath our center console here. As you can see, the storage in here is actually very nice. It goes down quite a ways. There is a felt lining down there at the bottom as well. And you know how to do it. We brought these coupons from Kentucky all the way to California. We need them even more here because everything's more expensive. And here we go. Looks like they fit in there just fine. We can shut the lid and everything, no problem whatsoever. Up in front of that, of course, you got your 2 cup holders. You have another really nicely sized storage area up here in the front. And this part here doubles as the wireless phone charging pad. This is on the top 2 trim levels. Then you've got your traditional connections right above it. Now heading back here to the shifter, you're going to have this traditional style shifter for all of the Santa Cruzes. You don't have the electronic one like you do in some of the other Hyundai products. That makes operation very simple. So you're just going to pull back for drive, bump over here to the left if you want to do some manual shifting, and you do have paddle shifters right up here on the steering wheel as well. Heading into reverse, we're going to be greeted with the 360-degree camera system on this limited trim level. As you can see, very nice resolution, a large display of both our 360 and traditional views, and then we can switch between a few different views as well, including one to connect a trailer. Of course, the other models, those are going to come with a regular backup camera. And then back behind that, you have your electronic parking brake with your brake hold function. Then pulling back here, you're going to notice a nice panel. This is for our heated and ventilated seats. So 3-stage heated seats are actually included on all but the base model. I already talked about the heated steering wheel. And then we even have the premium touch of ventilated seats included on the limited trim level. And then on all but the base model, you're also going to find a dual zone automatic climate control setup. So this right here is made with capacitive touch sensitive buttons. In the past, that would have been a really negative thing, but on these new models, very sensitive. So this is actually not a problem at all. It's very easy to use while you're on the go, since as you can see, it's very sensitive and all the buttons are nicely laid out all around the vehicle. And then up above that, you have another row of capacitive touch buttons. These are for your audio systems. So you're gonna have 2 different systems. The standard model is a 6-speaker sound system. The limited comes with a Bose premium sound system. Now today down here close to the beach, I do not have cell service, so I can't stream to you guys a copyright-free song like I usually do with our sound sample, so we're gonna have to skip that for today. However, this sound system is the same as what you have on the Tucson, and I can attest that that is a really nice sounding sound system. And now that we're in this area, let's go ahead and talk about this large display. So on the limited version of the Santa Cruz, this is going to throw in the 10.25-inch display. This is the larger option. The other models are going to come standard with an 8-inch display. This, of course, is going to be running the latest version of the Hyundai BlueLink system. When you choose the larger display, you do get some extra features like the built-in navigation system you see here, and you also have the split screen ability, so you can pull up 2 things at the same time. Now, both of the screens will have standard Android Auto and standard Apple CarPlay abilities. However, the smaller 8-inch display has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, where this larger display will require you plug in your device for those features. Additionally, on the limited trim level, you're not going to be able to see it given how bright it is outside, but it does also throw in 10-color ambient lighting all throughout the cabin. Now as we move on up here, we do have a frameless auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. That's going to be on the SEL Premium and above. And then up here at the very top, We do have a conventional sized moonroof. This is included on the SEL Premium and the limited trim level as standard equipment, and then you can option this on to the SEL if you wanted.
Well guys, hop on back here and join me in the Santa Cruz's rear seat. Now this is an area that you wouldn't expect to be very good for a vehicle of this size, but it's actually very impressive. So we're looking at 36.5 inches of legroom and 40 inches of headroom. So as you can see, I'm 5'9", and look how much headroom I have. And even as far as the legroom is concerned, I have, I would say, 2 to 3 inches to spare behind Drew's seating position. And as far as how that compares, that is larger than the larger size Toyota Tacoma and almost on par with that of the Honda Ridgeline. Now, turning our attention towards the features that Hyundai has thrown in, they actually have thrown in a few. So if you go for the SEL Premium trim and higher, that will throw in vents here in the center. That's something that's not available on a lot of the larger pickup trucks. And then we also have 2 charging USB ports if you go for a limited, and we even have a bottle storage here on the door. Now, in order to make the most of this Santa Cruz's space, they have given it the ability to fold this seat up. So as you can tell, just grab this little strap right here. That will allow the seats to fold up so you can throw stuff back here. And you're also going to have underfloor storage. There's more on the other side over there. This is kind of taken up with some other stuff, but there is really plenty of space for you to hide a few different items that you don't want seen. Now your passenger seat will be manually adjusting across every trim of the Santa Cruz. Then opening up the glove box here, we have a pretty good sized one. This appears to be about the same size as what you get out of the Hyundai Tucson. So as far as the coupons are concerned, you're definitely going to be able to fit those in here just fine. So you can be going on your adventure, and you can also be thinking about your next meal. And this big, oh my gosh, okay. What is okay.
I think it left now.
Yeah, it did. That sucker, I almost shut him in the glove box.
Here he comes again.
That's kind of And up top we do have a sun visor with some lighting as well as a large mirror, and we can detach it and extend it. Pretty quick.
Just like that, we're well above 60 miles per hour in this all-new Santa Cruz. So you can see that was actually surprisingly quick, getting up to 60 miles an hour, and that's because we have the upgraded engine. So there's going to be 2 different engine options for the Santa Cruz. You're going to have a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. That's going to be making 187 horsepower, and that's going to be on your lower 2 trim levels. On your upper 2 trim levels, however, that's going to come with the 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and obviously that's going to be making quite a bit more power.
Yeah. So what that's going to be is 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, which, as you can see, with that acceleration and all that, this certainly gets this truck up to speed plenty quick enough.
Yeah, going up big hills like this as well. To be honest, I am so surprised by how quick this is. I mean, it shouldn't be, because it does have the same 2.5 turbo like several other Hyundai products, but this engine really rocks. I mean,
it's quick. It
really quick. Let's go ahead and talk about the transmission situation as well. So as you probably picked up on, since they use this 2.5 turbo in several other products, this does also come with the 8-speed dual clutch transmission, which I'm pretty sure I can confidently say this is the only pickup truck with a dual clutch. And that gives you the same lightning quick shifts just like in the other applications like the Sonata Inline. And the regular model, that's going to come with a traditional 8-speed automatic, but either way, you're looking at smooth and quick shifts on board.
Now, as far as your drivetrains, if you opt for the turbo engine, you will have standard all-wheel drive, and that means you're going to have one fuel economy rating at 22 combined for that turbo. The lower end models with the regular 2.5 liter non-turbo is going to be 23 combined. So really, you're not sacrificing anything for getting the turbo engine. So if you can afford one of the upper end trims, you're not going to be paying much more at the pump at all. But let's talk about a very, very important thing with the Santa Cruz, and that's going to be your ride quality. One of the things Hyundai stressed with this vehicle is that it doesn't ride like a pickup truck. It's what they call a sport adventure vehicle. And from in the cabin, we've been driving it around a lot today. As you can see, we're on a beautiful, beautiful coastal path. I mean, this really does feel almost no different than what you're going to get out of something like a Hyundai Tucson, which I think is an incredible thing. Not everyone wants a big truck that bounces around and is hard to maneuver, and this Santa Cruz really does have phenomenal ride quality, and it just feels extremely comfortable within this cabin. It feels like a crossover.
Exactly, and like Mason's mentioning, Hyundai's really explicit about what they're targeting with this. They're not really targeting people who have big trucks, that are going to come down to this, but they're more targeting someone who has a crossover now and wants that extra utility of having the bed. And I think, they really nail it in that respect, because the way this drives, if you're used to driving any crossover, when you get behind the wheel, you're going to be instantly at home here.
Yeah. And let's get a sound level reading so we can, talk about that. It is quiet in here. I don't know if this will reflect it. The road's a little rough here, and it's also extremely, extremely windy down here by the ocean.
Right, but we were driving, of course, coming down here, and it was less windy.
Looking at 60.6, like I mentioned, I think that's about probably 3 decibels too loud. All things considered, with all the wind and stuff that were in the current conditions. And let's go ahead and talk about our airball and slam dunk for the all-new Santa Cruz. I'll start us off today by doing the slam dunk. I'm just going to say all the really cool things that Hyundai has done to make this small truck very, very usable. Honestly, that bed stuff is cooler than what you get in a lot of full-size trucks, and that's pretty much, it's standard on all of them. So I think Hyundai really has knocked it out of the park by making a small truck feel spacious and very usable for their clientele.
Exactly. And then on the airball side of things, what we thought of was the upcoming Ford Maverick.
Yeah.
Don't want to talk about that, but that is going to have a hybrid model. Hyundai, of course, does have a hybrid Tucson, which these share mechanics with. Seems like we could have a hybrid version of this, and would like to see that in the future.
But another really cool thing about the Santa Cruz is the price. So this is smaller than stuff like the Tacoma and Ridgeline, and therefore it does have a cheaper price point as well. So it's going to start at $23,990 for the SE model, and then you go all the way up to the limited all-wheel drive, like what we have here. That's going to start at $39,720, and then once we add in the destination charge of $1185, this one as equipped is coming in at $41,100.
Now this road is pretty straight and flat, but earlier we were driving on a really crooked road, and I think one of the most distinctive things about this is that this actually handles well. It's really hard to say that about anything that could be designated as a pickup truck, but I just put this into sport mode, which tightens the steering, and just check out how quick and responsive this is.
Yeah.
From behind the wheel, like this, dare I actually say, it's kind of fun to drive almost. I mean, that's kind of crazy to say about a pickup truck, but the way this is, based up upon the, Tucson, and you have that tight steering, that turbo engine, all together you can actually go around some corners and stuff and have a little bit of fun, which I think is very unique. And all together, that really is just kind of a great way to conclude with this Santa Cruz is that combination of the car-like characteristics and the truck-like characteristics, I think, is really a strong thing for the Santa Cruz. Because, like I said at the beginning, you know, Hyundai, they're not trying to pretend like this is big, tough, man. You know, this here is the sport adventure vehicle. It's a vehicle that, you know, combines those characteristics so that it's just as much home in the city as an urban vehicle as it is going out on an adventure.
Well guys, we appreciate you watching this in-depth review of the all-new 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz Limited. If you made it this far, hopefully that means you enjoyed watching, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Also like and comment, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.